Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for our first review of Potomac Season 9. I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying these reviews will not be out until late Monday night. I do not have Bravo on normal television. I watch it through Peacock, and they don't release it until Monday morning, and I'm already at work by the time they do that. So I've watched it. I decided I'm going to go ahead and review it for now. I'm just playing. I don't never stop mid-review. I always complete what I'm doing. But go ahead and do me a favor. Hit the like button. I'm going to let you all know now that I cannot and will not respect Mia. Mia is so thirsty for spotlight that she is willing to do any and everything in order to get it. She is foul, in my opinion. First, she openly admits she was a mistress. Then she assaults Wendy. Then she discloses that her child has a learning deficit. And now she's embarrassing her kid on national television. Our job as a parent is to make sure that we protect our kids. And in my opinion, that is not what she, nor Gordon, nor Ink are doing. And she's doing a lot of this for a storyline, and it's low down in my opinion. I do not like a lot of the things that happens on this show. I don't really care for Giselle, but I have to agree with Giselle and Karen when they say that she's not protecting her kids. Because if she wanted to protect her child, she would have went and gotten a DNA test with her and Gordon and their son a long time ago, prior to Ink and his speculations, prior to him questioning the paternity. Do it off camera, but no, this fool brings it on for the world to see. We'll get into it later. Also, Karen, I normally like you, but I'm not feeling that you're not dealing with this, okay? So we begin the episode with a reenactment of Karen's DUI. I don't know why they did this. Part of me is like, okay, this is them, being Bravo with the extraness, but I need it to be taken seriously. And the way that they handled it, I don't know how seriously it's being taken. I guess it's production's way of telling us without telling us, but something about it didn't feel that great to me. Her car was totaled in this situation. So it's Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. Karen is heading home from dinner. She gets into an accident. She is then later charged with a DUI, having an unregistered car. She was taken into custody. She was charged with other things too, but those are the two that I remember most. It's a month later now. They're filming. Giselle is on her way to check on Karen. She calls Ashley while en route to tell her that she's heading there to check on Karen. Ashley points out that she hopes she's okay, but she also says very quickly that this is Karen's second offense, and she would have thought that by now that she would have learned her lesson. We then get a flashback of Karen saying that she made a mistake for the first time back in season 1. I think it was season 1. No, I don't remember if it was season 1. Don't quote me on that. I just know she said in the previous season that she made a mistake and she got a DUI. As they're showing us all this stuff, Karen didn't handle this the right way. I like her on most days, but her take on it and how nonchalant she's being about it's not rubbing me right. I get that it's a court case, but I just want her to come out and say what it is and admit that she was wrong. But her making excuses for what happened is what bothers me. We'll get to it though. The other ladies talk about how shocked they were when they found out about the situation. Giselle goes to get her. Karen is calling this accident and says, accidents happen. Accidents happen, but it's looked at differently when you're intoxicated. So they're driving and Giselle wants to make sure she doesn't pass a certain area because she doesn't want to trigger her. And she's like, well, it's okay, but maybe we should avoid it. Production shows us this random deer that are running past because that was a part of her story. So they grab a bite to eat at this restaurant. Giselle talks about how scared she was for Karen and how much it shook her up. I do believe that she was scared for Karen. I do believe that it shook her up. Giselle gets on my nerves, but some part of me does feel like she does care about Karen. She has a funny way of showing it, but I think she does care. She says the Karen that she knows doesn't do stupid stuff, and that the citations and all these other things that she's hearing are not Karen. That's not who she is. And Karen is like, well, you do know me, so you do know that that's not who I am. But she doesn't want to talk about it. She points out that it's a legal matter and that Giselle needs to stop asking her questions because she knows how to read. In other words, just read about it. Don't ask me about it. Don't talk to me about this on TV because this is a case. I wonder if they had certain conversations off camera. I can understand her not wanting to talk about it on camera because it could be used against her. But I would hope that there was some ownership off camera because there's none on it. So Karen talks about Ray and how they were struggling. And then she talks about how she needs him to be there for her emotionally. And I get it, but I don't. Because maybe one of the reasons why Ray isn't there for her right now emotionally is because of how she continues to embarrass him. As Ashley pointed out, she's already had a DUI. This isn't her first one. So will he really be willing to be there for her when she's gotten herself into this situation, allegedly again? She says she's been through a lot. She's still mourning her parents that passed in 2018, 7 months apart from each other, that she's never gotten a chance to take care of her. I get it, but there's no excuse for it. There's none, because we've all experienced losses in different ways. I've never experienced the loss of a parent. I have experienced the loss of a sibling, and I can say that it does change you, and you do have grief in waves. It's natural, but you can't blame this situation on that. Go get help if that's what it requires. Take time off from the show. Do whatever it is that you need to do that doesn't put you in situations where you can endanger yourself and others. The waiter comes up to the table in such a scripted manner. He gives Karen a donut, says, you know, she comes here all the time and she's never had a drink here. And Giselle's like, okay, this is random. She's like, well, there are no drinks here. He's like, we serve drinks here. And the two ladies that are directly behind them happen to have drinks at the table. We don't need the waiter to come and say that. So I'm with Giselle. It did feel kind of scripted. Giselle wants to celebrate Karen for her birthday, so she wants to invite the entire cast to have a Hatitude party, even Wendy. Giselle knows, in my opinion, that if she wants to continue to work and stay on this show, that she's going to have to actually clock in. Karen asks if she can invite Vivian and Stacy as well. Giselle says sure. They talk about all the ladies, how quickly Mia is moving on, how she's all over the gram with ink, and how short her new man is in comparison to Mia. We then see Gordon and Mia. Despite him knowing of her affair and all the crap that they've put each other through, they're trying to be good co-parents. So they are out for ice cream with their kids. Gordon moved into the same building as Mia because he wants to be close to his kids and he wants to see them every day. I'm not knocking it. Would it make certain things uncomfortable? Probably. But depending on how large your building is, you may not even have to see each other on a daily basis. Just send the kid up to the second floor or wherever it is. I'm not knocking it. Do what you have to do to make it work for your kids. Mia feels like she gave everything in her marriage, and she tells Gordon that. And Gordon is looking at her like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm not trying to hear that, because of how quickly she moved on. She wasted no time to run to ink, is what he said. She didn't like that, but it's true. To be fair, she was with the man before they even separated. Mia brings up Gordon not wanting Ink to take his son to get haircuts. Well, first she says, you don't want any guys to take him to get haircuts. And he's like, I didn't say any guys. I said I don't want Ink. Why would he? Ink is a sore subject for him. Ink is the person that you ran to immediately following you supposedly separating from him, even though you were with him before that. Ink is the one who is saying that this may be his son. So why would he want to put himself in that situation? She thinks that, it's a part of co-parenting, like him taking him to the barbershop would be a part of co-parenting. And G says, he's not a co-parent. And he's right. He's not. You wasted no time to have this man around your kids. I feel like it's not right and it's not fair. And you're throwing this situation in his face like he's supposed to be okay with it when it's not. I know me myself, the only other person who's taken my son to the barbershop is my brother. And it's not even on no, oh no, that it's just a respect thing. I don't know. I feel like certain things shouldn't be done. And if he's telling you that he doesn't want it done, then don't do it. The man stays in the same apartment as you. How hard is it for him to wait a couple of hours or a day for his father to take him to go get a haircut? She tells him that Ink wants to do a DNA test. And Gordon's like, there's no point in doing it. He's my son. Do you not think that he's my son? And she's like, I mean, there's always a possibility that Jeremiah isn't, Gordon's. The only way that would be a possibility is if there was overlap, is if she was with two men. The moment that she knew that it was a possibility, whether Gordon wanted it done or not, for the sake of her child, she should have already had that test done off camera. Now she's worried about her son wondering who his dad is, and from 10 years from now wanting to pursue it. And G doesn't want Ink to do it. I don't care what the adults want. The baby deserves the truth. So it's been 2 years since Ashley has told us that her and Michael are getting a divorce, and she is now back trying to talk with her attorney, trying to sell us this crap storyline. So she's thinking that they need to have mediation, work out the custody, and then get divorced. I'm not staying on that long because it's crap. Next. On to Wendy. Wendy has moved everything out of her office. She no longer wants to be a professor. She's turning 40 and she's over it. I personally do not feel like Wendy ever wanted to be a professor. I have a lot of African friends, and one of the things that's pushed with them is to be doctors and lawyers, and that's the way that she went. She went to the route that would satisfy her mother. Maybe she's not a doctor like in the medical aspect, but she is in education, and it pleased her mother that she reached that level of learning because it says something. She can say that her daughter is a doctor. We see her typing up the letter of resignation. Eddie is happy for her when she calls him in and says that she sends it. She feels empowered, but at the same point, she's worried about how her mother will feel. She said her mother's going to be cursing and praying and doing some other things because she's going to be upset. It's because parents from a lot of foreign countries, I know it can happen here as well, but parents from a lot of foreign countries are demanding. I should know. I have to. Oh, goodness. So we meet Vivian, who is linking up with Karen and Stacy. They're coming to her boutique to shop. She owns a boutique in the mall. Karen talks about how, when they were younger, they said that they would be entrepreneurs, and it's nice to see her friend being successful this way. We meet Stacy, who used to work for QVC. She met Karen through Vivian. They talk about the Hatitude party that is being thrown by Giselle in the invite and how extra it was. I got a little chuckle of it. I mean, it would have been real easy to just send an e-invite. Giselle decided that she would have, a poster of Karen with a hat on, and Karen looked good. So she could have been shading her with that. She didn't. And, tell them what the expectations were. They're going to try to avoid getting the taco hats. Karen is hesitant based on what happened season 1. Karen, let it go. She sat in your seat on your birthday. Oh, well, get over it. But they're like, just go. She's like, she's going to go and she's going to give it her best. So we see them, Stacy begin trying on dresses. Vivian and Karen, while she's in the dressing room, mention that they noticed, Karen particularly, that Stacy doesn't have her rock on. She's like, I noticed a rock, and she had a rock on her finger. So she comes out and they're immediately like, friend, what's going on? Why aren't you wearing your ring? We find out that she was married to her German husband that she met on an airplane for 16 years. They have a daughter that is 8, and she has been separated for a year. The two of them are shocked by this news, which makes me wonder what kind of friends are they that they were unaware of that. And she says it's part of the reason why she left Philadelphia and she moved back to this area. So far, these two ladies that we're seeing, I'm liking them. I know one is a friend of, one is the actual cast. But I'm not sure how I felt about the next thing, which was them making a toast. And then after they make the toast and you pour the drinks, you're asking if it's a problem to drink in front of her. Karen has not said that she has a drinking problem. So the repeated references to her drinking are going to get on my nerves because she's not really addressing it. So let's not talk about it. If she hasn't said I'm not drinking, then leave it alone. She lets them know in a real calm manner, because she took no offense to it, that she's the only reason why she's not drinking right now is because she's on medication. But after that, after she gets off the medication, she will be joining them. Flash to the party. It's party time. Giselle is throwing this hatitude party. She has some hats that were custom made by a designer. The hats are beautiful. I love them, by the way. I personally have a big head, so she would probably have to go a little bit above and beyond for me and my hat, but she got the ladies' hats. She said each hat was created with a particular lady in mind. Ashley arrives first, carrying what she's calling a bounce back basket for Karen. That gift, in my opinion, it would have bounced right back to her face, because I think the things that she put in the basket were a little shady and I don't like it. It had Uber gift cards and it had a water bottle in it. She says that she doesn't know her state of mind. That's why she did it, and she got her the gift. I think it was like a birdhouse or something in there too to occupy her time. Ashley, in my opinion, is playing in her face with that gift. It's a little shady. You didn't have to put a bottle of water and stuff in there. It's you being funny. And if she were to do something about it, don't complain. Giselle is glad that she did it, because she said, she couldn't do it. And that's because if you did do it, Karen would have gathered you. And I hope we get to see her gather Ashley in the next episode. Giselle lets her know that Karen does not want to get in the weeds of the situation. She doesn't really want to talk about it. Ashley thinks that Karen should say something rather than reading it in the paper. She should say something, but Ashley's the wrong person to deliver that message, because with all the stuff that was put out there about Michael, to this day, Ashley still is not willing to talk about it. The harassment and all the other allegations that were made against him, you didn't want to talk about it either. So don't expect her to talk about her situation that's still currently under litigation, when even after yours is out of litigation, you're not saying anything. You have certain expectations of Karen that you don't even have of yourself. Giselle says, after her father's passing, she's now in a place where she's trying to find peace. She invited Wendy. She's learning about empathy and compassion, and she's willing to move forward with Wendy. I feel like it is very, very convenient that both Wendy and Giselle are now wanting to play nice. You tell me what you think about it. I just don't think that it's that. Because I think that she didn't really have a reason to be upset with Wendy in the first place. She just didn't like Wendy. I think that Giselle got a lot of heat for the past couple seasons in regards to Wendy. I think that Giselle lost Robin, and she knows that she's going to need some backing, because Robin was really her mouthpiece. So she's going to need some of the cast to help her. On top of that, I would not be surprised if production had a meeting with them and warned all of them that they need to interact with each other in order for this show to keep going. So Jacqueline arrives, then Mia arrives with a girl by the name of Jazzy. We find out that Jazzy used to be an international flight attendant, or she still is, I'm not quite sure. She recently purchased a home with her man, Darius. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jazzy and Jacqueline meet. Jazzy says, I don't want no smoke, basically, with you. I'm coming in peace. I heard about you when it comes to Mia. They laugh, they hug. Wendy arrives, and Giselle actually speaks to her. They don't hug, but she says, hi, Wendy. That's the most that she's given Wendy in months. maybe in years. I don't know. Wendy does not think that the invite was an olive branch from Giselle, but she is willing to sit down and talk about her relationship with Giselle. But that's because just like Giselle, Wendy is trying to make sure that she has people to film with. Giselle has shown Wendy time and time again how she truly feels about her. Even tried to make it seem at one point like Wendy spoke ill of her children or like Wendy deserved getting assaulted by Mia. That is not somebody that you need to sit down and have a conversation with. Be cordial, show up for the events that you have to do for the show, and keep it moving. Karen is late, so the ladies are talking about her. Jacqueline says that I did call to check on Karen, and Karen seemed tipsy when I talked to her on the phone. This is why I always seem to have a problem with Jacqueline. Karen never made an announcement that she has no intentions of drinking. So whether she seemed tipsy or not is irrelevant. You spoke to her on the phone. If she wasn't drinking while you were on the phone with her, then there is no need for drinking and driving while you were on the phone with her. Then there is no need for you to even make mention of it. It's no point in saying it, but it's you being shady. She said it wasn't a normal conversation that she had with Karen. Wendy says, look, I don't want no parts of this. And I'm Wendy. I wouldn't want any parts of it either, just because if you really care that much, you would have this conversation with her out off of camera. And it doesn't seem like any of them did, with the exception of maybe Giselle. Maybe Wendy did, and we just don't know. Karen, Stacy, and Vivian arrive. Karen's wearing a hat. Giselle says something about it. She's like, I will change it when you pull the hats out. We find out that Wendy at some point worked with Stacy on, I can't remember if it was a panel or something. They worked together on something. She doesn't really know her, but their energy is good. Giselle then talks about the list of drinks. She has the Sir County, the 61, and the Grandma, which is the Grand Dame. My notes say Grandma. The Grand Dame is a non-alcoholic drink. Karen's like, I'll take the iced tea. She's not even going down that road. Giselle's like, the drinks, everything is a tribute to Karen. But you can't help but be shady in that moment, because why you even feel the need to do that? You didn't have to announce that it was a non-alcoholic drink. It just goes like they're back to it's light digs. I get it, and it's light digs. And here's the thing. I don't agree with Karen. I feel like if Karen was indeed intoxicated, that Karen needs to seek help. Karen needs to admit her wrongs, because she very much so could have done what Mia says later, not Mia, what her friend says later on, and hurt somebody. So Karen said in her confessional that Giselle couldn't help but being messy. We see the ladies small talk. We get to the hats. Giselle lets it be known that all the hats are around the room. If you have an attitude, you'll get either the banana hat, the taco, or the construction hat. The designer made the nicer hats for each one of the ladies with the name in mind. She starts off with Karen, and hers is called Hollywood because that's what she is. Giselle lets it be known that the ladies were asking her questions regarding Karen because they know that she met up with her a couple days ago. Karen says, don't ask me, ask Giselle. I'm right here. Basically like I'm an open book, but you're not. Jacqueline says, look, Karen, I'm happy that you're safe and that you're okay, that you weren't hurt, and that you didn't kill a child. Karen makes a face like, no, this heifer didn't just say, I'm a child. She's happy I didn't hurt a child. She looked irritated, but I gotta agree with Jacqueline. It's what she needed to hear, because when you decide to get in a vehicle and you know that there's an impairment, you should not be operating that vehicle. I remember back in June, I went out with some coworkers to a happy hour that got extremely happy to the point where keys were being taken. My friend's house is up the street, like maybe less than 5 minutes away from where we were at. We took an Uber to her house and we slept because none of us wanted to put ourselves or others in harm's way. It's what you do. So you do need to think about what you could have done had it have not been just a pole or a tree or whatever it was that you ran into. Karen isn't worried about people judging, but she wants to know, she says, who her real friends are. And she says, be mindful of how low you go. Karen is worried about people judging. Karen doesn't want to hear the truth, because the truth, whether she wants to admit it or not, is that there is a reason why she was given DUI charges. So Ashley is given a hat called Cowgirl because of the whole trip to Texas and the chicken poop bingo and all that other stuff. The ladies are then invited to a G&A fusion event. Now they're going to be tapping into health and wellness. Wendy thinks it's bad enough that the clothes that they showed on that runway aren't on the website. She doesn't understand why they're trying to tap into something else, because they should fix that first. Mia gets a hat called the King. Giselle says it's because you pimping two men. It's a back and forth with them. Then she makes a little dig and she asks if Jacqueline and Mia have ever shared ink because they used to share men. Mia says no, ink doesn't play like that. She then changes the subject to Gordon leaning on the two of them, talking about how Gordon left some clothes and she washed them and ink folded them. It's not cute, it's disturbing. And the way that Mia presents things always makes me think that she takes pleasure in making Gordon look dumb. And herself too, but she doesn't think she looks dumb. She just thinks she's making Gordon look dumb. Jacqueline then speaks up saying that she feels like ink is a better match for Mia. That despite Mia having 2 children with him, that it was a business partnership. Giselle said, did Gordon know that? And Jacqueline says, I think they both knew that. Mia doesn't step and refute it. And why is she speaking for her? Karen's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. She says, it's more than just a partnership. You had babies with him. Karen lets it be known that she doesn't like the way things went down with G and Mia. She doesn't like the way that he and Mia handled the situation. She doesn't like how they blasted the whole conversation of who Jeremiah's father was on TV. She doesn't like that it was plastered all over the news. And Mia says, you think I liked it? I didn't like it either. I didn't do that. Gordon did. Their father did. Giselle's like, yes, but you didn't protect them at all costs, because if you did, you wouldn't have mixed it up with Gordon. There was a mix. Giselle says, that's why I think that he went off. And it was. Mia starts crying, saying, I was in an abusive marriage. My kids are good. They're in traveling basketball. They're doing well in school. And for them to say that, for you two to say that, that's effed up. She walks off crying, says, don't follow me, telling the cameras that. Wendy's like, let's not attack her motherhood. I don't know how I feel about that. I could be wrong. Y'all let me know down in the comment section, but I kind of agree. She's not being a good mom. Any way you look at this situation, whether Gordon revealed it or not, Mia could have stepped in at some point, told production, look, I know we had that whole spill. If you have to dock my pay, then so be it. But please make sure that you do not put that out. If you put it out, there's going to be something coming from my attorneys. There's no way that that information is allowed to be put out about my child. Don't put it out. But she didn't do that. She allowed it to go down. She put all her business out here on Bravo, and the kids have no say-so. Does she not think that at some point a teacher or a student or anybody can come and approach these kids, not just her younger one, but the one that she had before she got with Gordon, and say what they've seen on television? It's a disservice to the kids. It should have been handled off camera. Karen, I need you to do better. And based on the way that the previews look, it looks like she's not going to address this situation at all and tell us what really went down. And if she doesn't, then we're going to see a season of the cast digging into her. And it's granted. If you get in a car and you're intoxicated and you decide that you want to operate that vehicle and you have, like others said, the funds and the time and the opportunity, you could have called Ray, you could have called a driver, you could have called Blue Eyes, you could have found any other way to get home. So it's not okay. You all let me know what you think. If I missed something that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below. Like the video. It will help me hopefully get back in the algorithm. Until next time.